Hello there, my beautiful thinking people. It's your host, Clyde Phillips of Advocation X, of Tesla Clyde, of Clyde Invests. I put out a lot of topics. But first I want to say this. I really need to thank you all, those of you that have continued to watch, and some of you who continue to like the videos, those of you who continue to share the videos. The numbers don't lie. There's a lot of you watching, and I guess I'm that controversial that you're really afraid to like the videos, but that's okay. We're still moving forward, and that's what's most important. The views are very important as well as the likes or the subscribes, but the subscribes, of course, as far as YouTube is concerned, are the most important. So today's topic, I hope, is going to help touch some hearts and help to make us more resilient in the future. We live in a world that's very difficult to navigate, and that's at the best of times, okay? Just getting up, getting ready, going to a regular job, getting home, hoping for your paycheck to be there on time, trying to coordinate so that the bills get paid when the paychecks get there. All of these issues are just a regular day for everybody, and getting meals together and doing laundry and all that good stuff. I want to ask you a question. When you're engaged in all this stuff, do you feel alone? Like, honestly, do you feel alone in your endeavors? Even when you have coworkers, you have all these people helping to contribute to your efforts, but do you feel alone? And that's an internal question. I want to say, from my observations of our wonderful world and the wonderful paths that we all choose, I find that there is a very, very good balance in the world. There's a yin and a yang there. I don't know if it's equal, okay? But it does exist. Many of us who love to give of ourselves, we are the ones who always attend when there are functions and things going on. We're the ones who always run to the rescue when somebody's in trouble. We're the ones who always go drive all over the place without any regard to the distance or the expense, and run to help people who are stranded. And I mean, I'm one of the type of people who, when I'm driving down the highway, if I see somebody stranded, I'll pick them up. They're walking along the highway. I'm worried about them. I don't know what put them in that position. So I pick them up and I give them a kind word. What would our world be without us? And I really, truly mean that. What would our world be without us? Those people who used to come and bang on my door, and my mother used to send them into my room while I was sleeping because there were bullies in the area. And they came to get me to go clean up the bullies. I don't think I ever had a second thought. Ever. I don't think I ever thought, wait a second, let me ask, who are these bullies? Because maybe I'm going to be on vacation that day. Like, I love that about me, but I do have to question, what would the world be without us? How many of you jump to it every time somebody you care about is in trouble? What would they have done without you? So, it brings me to many things. We have children, we have friends, we have brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and cousins and co-workers, acquaintances, and everything under the sun. I realize that if I was to jump to every single thing that needed my attention, I would be homeless on the street long, long time ago. So here's the question, and I want you all to ask yourself this. If you're one of those people who's constantly giving, if you're one of those people who's constantly there to help when you're needed, if you're one of those people that everybody calls when they have to move, or they have trouble in the neighborhood, or any number of things that come their way, I want your answer to this question. How many people in your circles and I mean all the circles, whether it's children, friends, family, extended family, acquaintances, co-workers, how many of them, be honest with yourself, will be there for you if you were in dire need? How many of them would show up at the police station if you got wrongfully arrested and were stuck without any way to fix the situation? How many would lend you their car, their second car, of course, if yours broke down and you could not afford to fix it for a few months? How many would be there beside you if a gang of 10 came at you? How many? There's so many different degrees of people's willingness to be of service. Be honest with yourself, look around your circles, and then I want you to understand this. Our world is made for givers. Why? Because there's so many takers. There's so many people who will just take from you and take from you and take from you until your life's blood is just from depletion. And they won't give it a second thought. You'll never hear thank you from them. You'll never hear, oh, I so appreciate you. I remember when you were there for me for this. I remember when you were there for me for that. With that in mind, look inside yourself and answer me this. Are you going to stop giving? And if you're a taker, will you continue to take in the same manner, or will you start to actually think that maybe you need to appreciate those who give? You don't have to, because as you'll find, most of those people who've been giving you all these years never stopped giving you, even though you were an abusive, selfish individual. And caveat, some of you don't really know that you're selfish. You just think that's the way life is. It's like, hey, look, I need it, give it to me. I don't have to pay you back. I don't even have to say thank you. It's just the way life is. There are people like that. But there are those who are what others would call kind of scumbags. But guess what? Givers still give to scumbags. Why? Because the pleasure's in the giving. But there comes a day, as you get older, I'm finding, where you start to look back and go, wow, there was not even a thank you there. Holy, there was not even a, I appreciate you, or wow, I imagine how hard it was for you to give me your last this, and it helped me and my kids. I forgot you had kids at home too. Nothing. How about your ex-spouse who watched you raise your kids? It didn't even come across their mind to say, hey, you really did me a great service. You raised a great child, and it didn't cost me anything. I was able to do other things with my life. Like, there's nothing wrong with it if that's what you wanted to do, but could you at least say thank you? Like, the thank you is never expected. But when it comes, you know what it does to the person who's been giving all those years? It puts one of these on their face. A big one. A big smile on their face that makes them feel that not only was it worth it, but they made the right decision because they made a positive change. If you're one of those people who hasn't said thank you, make it a point in the future to always say thank you. Always tell somebody if you appreciate them. And for those who are in your past that you never did it before, it's never too late. It's never too late. Because the day that they pass on, I pray it doesn't all come flooding back to them at that moment, where they realize that they sacrificed their whole life for people who most would say didn't deserve it. Now, let me tell you where this came from. I grew up in Montreal, Quebec. Downtown Saint-Henri was my beginnings, which is arguably one of the toughest areas of Montreal. Then we moved to the north end, to Saint-Laurent. It's a pretty tough go there too. So there were a lot of bullies, a lot of people to get taken care of. When I first got on Facebook, I was looking for friends from the past. I mean, I thought that's what it was all about, and I couldn't find anybody. And then one day, I put up a post on Facebook. This is so many years ago. And I said, I apologize to all the bullies that I bullied, because I became a bully to the bullies, which I was having a hard time reconciling that was okay to be. And I got hit with so many wonderful messages. I still feel bad for the bullies, because I was pretty capable, and I did some things that, I mean, were never, well, only one time was unfair. That was the time I jumped in the air and did which I don't do. Usually if somebody hits the ground, not usually, every time if somebody hits the ground, I give them the opportunity to get up and go or stay down. And this one time, I actually went overboard. But that's not the point of the story. It's just that I need to be honest and transparent when I talk about these things. So I had this wonderful time taking care of all the children, even the animals that got bullied. I remember chasing around the neighborhood looking for people who were hanging cats from the clotheslines until their tails came off. They were hanging them by their tail, tying them to a clothesline. And then the cat would spin and spin and spin trying to get out of there and end up losing their tail. I was not very happy with those things. I love animals. I love kids. I love humanity. And I love people who are humane. So anyways, that wasn't the point of this either. There's so many memories, so many things that will flood back. But remember, folks, and those of you who know me, I did have an accident way back where my blood was depleted. And my memories are not perfect. Sometimes I can see a whole scene in front of me, and there were 12 people there, but I only see 3. And no matter how hard I try, those other people do not materialize in the memory. Okay? Don't ask me how that happens. I have no clue. But they didn't expect me to have any memory at all. They thought I wouldn't even know who I was. Never mind that. They thought I was going to be a vegetable. Why do I keep getting sidetracked? Okay. So this was all brought about because there was a time when I was dreaming. And I used to dream often. I loved it. But these particular dreams are so indicative of the point that I'm trying to make here. I was out on the hunt again. I had a whole whack of friends with me, and we were hunting down some really nasty bullies. They were nasty bullies. Like, these are people that everybody would say, oh, give it to them, give it to them. And again, we'd be measured, but it's always important to stay measured. You don't net out more retribution than the person deserves, because that's just not right. So we're traveling around, we're going down roads, we're looking in parks, we're going all over the place, all over our neighborhood. Remember, this is a dream. And finally, we turn a corner. There's about 100 yards of distance to a dead end. And what do I see there? The bullies. I start heading with a vengeance, like I'm going to take care of this, I don't care. As I get close, there's about 15 of them, 20 of them, something like that. But I'm not afraid. I'm never afraid when I'm in the right, okay? I don't care how many people there are. I'm never afraid when I'm in the right. But I did hope that I had, some assistance here. As I approach them, I turn and look. Everybody disappeared. All my backup was gone. What did I do? I went straight in anyways, and I looked the guy in the face who was the one responsible for me being out there, and I just laid him out. And I told the rest of them, I have no problem with you guys until I do. And I woke up. Now, you might think, Clyde, it was a dream, man. Like, you know what? We would be there for you. Like, you know, if anything happened, Clyde, and you needed our help, you know we'd be right there beside you. So I tell you that to tell you this. I had a situation where, and I'm not going to give anybody names or whatever because I'm not trying to defame people, and I'm not trying to get, you know, individuals in trouble. This person was a member of an organized group, let's say, okay? And we're not talking about organized basketball or baseball, or rugby or anything like that. We're talking about organized scary group. And I was wrongly accused of stealing some marijuana from a 14 or 15-year-old kid. So the night that it happened, I stood up and told this person in no uncertain terms that they better know who they're talking to before they open their mouths, because they could be offending somebody that they're not going to be too happy with. The person arrived with, I don't know, I think it was 4 or 5 other people with them. So they were basically strategically placed around the room in order to deal with this thief that stole marijuana from a young kid. They left. I guess he understood that maybe I was telling the truth. I didn't tell him I didn't do it. I didn't tell him anything. I didn't tell him who could have done it. I didn't tell him a thing other than you better watch basically who you're accusing of what. Know who you're talking to, because you could be putting your life in your own hands. So this individual left. Now I'll get a little descriptive, and again, this is only so you understand the whole scenario. This person left, and he went to his organized group of friends. And to tell you the truth, I know a lot of them since then, and a lot of them are pretty decent people in the interactions I've had. Okay, I don't know what you had with these other folks, but with me, they're pretty decent people. Anyways, when this person went there, he went with a story about this guy who was described as far as my skin tone, my height, and all that other good stuff. And this guy had stolen this from his thing, and he went there and something, whatever he told them to try to get some backup to go and deal with this guy. Now, I heard this subsequently through the grapevine, is that they told him, the person you're describing, in our opinion, is Clyde. And now I gotta ask you, what did you do to provoke him? I guess people knew I had a reputation for never starting things, but not being afraid to finish them. So they said, we're not going to back you, but there's, what would we call them? There's some people who, of course, are trying to get into our friend group, and they have obligations to take care of things whenever they're asked. You can use them if you really need, but we're not helping you. Not against this individual. Not because they're afraid, because they know I have integrity. So the people that were coming with me to meet this individual, because we had a scheduled meeting to take care of this thing, when we got there, they got cold feet. Listen, you know who you are. You know I haven't held a grudge all these years. To me, it makes me chuckle. So I stopped the car around the corner and let them stay in the car. And I got out and I went to the meeting, where apparently there could have been up to 7 of these friend group wannabes, along with this individual and whatever his 4 friends that he had. So there could have been, I don't know, 10, 12 people there, okay? I arrive, there's nobody there. So I think maybe they're strategically set up inside. I go inside, there's nobody there. The phone rings, and the person behind the counter says, "Are you the black guy from last night?" I said, "I guess so, yeah." "Somebody wants to talk to you." I got on the phone. There was a woman on the phone. And she said, "You're that guy, Clyde, from last night?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, I'm the wife of so-and-so. And I just want to let you know that he wanted me to call you and apologize." You heard me right. He asked his wife to call me and apologize for his actions the night before. I walked into an ambush, ready to throw down and possibly die. And still, people don't back you when you think. So what am I going to tell you? Be careful. We all think the best of everybody that's around us. And it's not that there's even anything wrong with people not backing you up. It's their prerogative. It's up to them. From one moment to the next, they could be there until your nose bleeds. They could be there until somebody spits at you, right? You just rely on yourself. Always rely on yourself. And if you end up with people in your corner, be a lot happier that there are actually some people that you can count on. And I was going to say that care about you, but that's not true, because people care about a lot of people in their life to different degrees and in different ways. And all of that caring is important to help you grow and go into the future. And if you think I'm just talking out my butthole, my children should be able to attest to this. At least the boys, because I always told them, don't shy away from being friends with anybody. I don't care if it's the school bully or if it's the school nerd. I don't care what group they belong to, and I don't care what they do in their extra time. Just know that you have a father at home that you have to answer to. So it's nothing to be his friend, whether he's the biggest bully or whatever. But when he asks you to get involved in his stuff, you just have to politely decline. You know, I love you, buddy, but I gotta get home, man. My dad will kill me. I'll take the blame. And you know what? I'm very proud of my kids because they did quite well. They are loved and admired by many, many across the spectrum. And I haven't had to deal with too many headaches. I've had to step up for my kids from time to time. Some of those I regret. But, hey, we do what we have to do. So the moral of this whole thing is what? Rely on yourself. Count on yourself. Because you cannot count on anybody else. You can't. Oh, I should be doing that right now. Anyways, you can't. You can only rely on you and be very thankful and appreciative when those who do step up beside you do so. And I've had some wonderful people step up for me in many, many respects, in many ways, in different diverse situations that I found out I could count on them. But you don't know that till it happens. So don't rely on them. Make sure you're relying on you. The help you get is a bonus. Okay? And here's another thing. We never give up and we never give in. But we always keep an open mind, because an open mind is what allows us to gather knowledge. And knowledge, believe it or not, is the only power you will ever have in this world. Do the research. Don't listen to those who tell you they're doing the research. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're this, you're that. Do the research. Teach yourself the realities around your world so you can make good, informed decisions. All right? And by the way, stay safe. stay healthy, and above all, stay as happy as humanly possible. I love y'all. Till next time.